It's a weird paradox, isn't it? We live in an age with more freedom, more opportunity to create ourselves than ever before, and yet, anxiety, fragility, they seem to be at an all-time high. In this explainer, we're going to dig into a really powerful argument for why that is, and a solution that you might not expect.
I mean, that's a pretty blunt question, right? But haven't you kind of wondered the same thing? It's something the writer Freddie DeBoer has been exploring. We have all these tools to build ourselves up, so why is there this constant nagging feeling of anxiety and fragility? What is really going on here?
So the big idea here is that we're living through a really unique kind of identity crisis. We've been told our whole lives to look inside, to build our own sense of self. But what if the very tools our culture has given us for that job are actually, making everything worse?
I mean, just think about the tools we're handed. You've got the self-help industry shouting affirmations at us. You've got marketing telling us how wonderful we are. And of course, social media, where we get to build these perfect, shiny versions of our lives. But as DeBoer points out, even when people seem to have it all on the outside, there's often this deep, gnawing self-hatred on the inside. Clearly, something's not clicking.
Okay, so if all these tools are failing us, you gotta ask, maybe the problem is way deeper. What if it's the lens we're looking through? What if we've been taught to see everything, our friendships, our careers, even our relationship with God, as just one big transaction?
And this is what that transactional faith looks like in practice. It's basically an arrangement, right? I do these things for God, I pray, I'm a good person, and in return, he gives me blessings, he answers my prayers, he makes my life good. It's like I'm serving God for the perks. And this sets up a massive spiritual problem.
And this is not a new problem. Not at all. It's ancient. You can find it right in the book of Job in the Bible. It's the exact accusation that Satan makes against Job, and really against all of us. He says, hey, Job's faith isn't real love, it's a business deal. Take away all the good stuff and his faith will crumble. It's this profound challenge to the very idea of genuine love and devotion.
All right, so if that transactional mindset is the problem, the solution we're going to look at just completely flips the script. It's this idea of the cross, not just as an inspiring story, but as a ransom. Let's really break this down, because it's a huge difference. On the left, you've got the common modern view, the one that even someone like Mahatma Gandhi could get behind. The cross is this beautiful, moving example of sacrificial love. It's there to inspire us, to make us better people. But the theological claim of the ransom view on the right, it's radically different. It says something objective happened outside of us. A real debt was paid. Our fundamental status before God was changed, and we were literally freed from spiritual slavery.
And look, this is where most people, and maybe you too, have a totally fair question. It's a great question. If God is all-loving, all-powerful, why all this? Why the messy, violent process? Why not just snap his fingers and say, you're forgiven?
Well, to get our heads around this, there's a really powerful analogy from Timothy Keller. Imagine somebody takes a baseball bat and just smashes your car. Now, imagine they come to you, they are truly deeply sorry, and they beg you to forgive them. A bystander might say, hey, just let it go. But can you? The damage is real. There's a real cost there that doesn't just disappear. Someone has to pay for it. Either the vandal pays or insurance pays, or you end up absorbing the cost yourself. And that's the whole point. Forgiveness is never actually free. It's always an act of absorbing the cost of a debt someone else created.
So you see, this sets up this huge theological bind. If God just looked at all the evil and injustice in the world and said, whatever, he wouldn't be just or holy. It would mean good and evil don't really matter. But if he refused to forgive, he wouldn't be loving. It seems like an impossible situation. And this is where the idea of the ransom comes in. It presents the cross as the one place where God solves this impossible problem by paying the debt himself. So this isn't about a human sacrifice to appease some angry God up in the sky. It's about God, in the person of Jesus, actually coming down to absorb the full cost of evil and injustice into himself, so that he could extend love and forgiveness to us. Okay, so what in the world does this actually mean for us right here, right now? Well, this idea builds a completely different foundation for our identity, because if the debt is really, truly paid, it changes everything about how we see ourselves. Well, it leads to what might be one of the most mind-blowing claims in the entire New Testament. In a prayer, Jesus says he wants his followers to get this, that God the Father loves them even as, to the exact same degree that he loves his own son, Jesus. Think about that.
This isn't a love we earn based on how good we are. It's a love we get just because we're connected to Him. And that right there is the direct antidote to that fragile modern self we started with. See, the world gives us affirmation we have to constantly earn and re-earn. It's exhausting, but this is a legal verdict. It's a declaration of loved and accepted that we just receive. It's not like a little water pistol trying to chip away at our self-hatred. It's the blast that can shatter that rock for good.
Okay, but let's be real. What about when life just sucks? What about when things go wrong? This whole framework also gives us a completely different way to think about suffering, about what happens when life falls apart and God feels a million miles away. This line, wow, it's the very last line of Psalm 88, and it is just shocking. Most of these kinds of psalms, these laments, they end with a little glimmer of hope. Not this one. This one ends in pure, raw darkness. The person praying, a believer, feels totally and completely abandoned by God. So, what is a prayer like this doing in the Bible?
There's this incredible insight from a theologian named Derek Kidner. He says the fact that this prayer is even in the Bible shows us that God gets it. He's not shocked. He's not offended when we're in despair. It's almost like God is saying, I understand. I know what it feels like to be desperate, and I'm right here with you, even in the middle of this. And this all ties right back to the cross, because on the cross, Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? He experienced real, objective, absolute separation from the Father. And the argument is, he took on that ultimate darkness so that for us, our experience of darkness is always just a feeling. It's subjective. It feels real, but it's not the ultimate reality. He was truly abandoned so that we never would be.
So, the final piece of the puzzle is, how does this grace, this connection with God, actually show up in our lives? Is it always some big, spectacular, miraculous event? The story of the prophet Elijah paints an incredible picture of this. He's depressed, he's on the run, and he's waiting for God on a mountain. And first there's this hurricane-force wind that literally shatters the rocks, then a massive earthquake, then a raging fire. I mean, these are all the classic signs of power and judgment. But the story makes a point of saying God was not in the wind, or the earthquake, or the fire. His actual presence came in a gentle whisper. And the theological connection here is, well, it's really powerful. The argument goes that centuries later, on another mountain, Jesus, who is called the Rock, stood in our place, and he absorbed the full force of that wind, that earthquake, and that fire of judgment that we deserved.
The idea is, he took on that terrifying, spectacular judgment so that we could experience the intimate, personal relationship of grace. He faced the storm so we could hear that still, small voice. And so all of this leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In a world that is so incredibly loud, a world full of demands, of performance, of shouts for our attention, what are we training our ears to hear? Are we looking for the next big, flashy thing to prove our worth? Or are we learning to quiet down and listen for that gentle whisper of grace?